We cross to our SABC correspondent in Kenya, that's Sarah Kimani. Sarah, very good afternoon to you. Of course, you're there live. You've been keenly listening to all that's been happening then today, as, of course, Anthony Blinken has been addressing politicians and leaders in Kenya today. Talk to us about the gist of what he had to say. But on the back of that, Sarah, importantly, I really want to discuss the issue of security. Yesterday, you and I had a conversation. You told me that security has been tightened in Kenya due to what's happening in Uganda. We saw those two explosions, two bombs, pardon me, where people, in fact, came in to bomb certain parts of the capital in Uganda. And, of course, there were concerns about security in Kenya as well. And I wondered how that would affect the Secretary of State's visit to Kenya.
Well, indeed, security continued to be heightened here in the country. Indeed, at the hotel where we are holding this meeting, there has been security throughout. Whether you're coming in or going out, you had to be frisked. There were, sniffer dogs throughout the time that Blinken has been here. And on the borders, President Kenyatta again insisting that security on the borders between the countries has to be beefed up. And Anthony Blinken talking about those attacks in Kampala, talking about the need for cooperation in the region to deal with terrorism, but also the support by the U.S. to Kenya and to the region to fight the Al-Shabaab militant group and any other extremist groups that may be taking advantage of the conflicts in Ethiopia, in Sudan, and in Somalia to come into these countries to bomb and to cause insecurity like what we saw yesterday in Kampala.
Let's talk about, I think you missed my first question. It was a mouthful that I had for you there, Sarah. But my first question was really about the gist of what the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, had to say. I mean, in the most part, we caught a little bit of his speech there. But, in total, I mean, what was he talking about, really? I know that he's also talking about conflict areas in Africa, and also he spoke quite a bit about Ethiopia. But let's talk in general about the messaging and what he had to say.
The messaging is that the continent is backsliding in terms of the democratic gains that it has made previously. He spoke about Sudan and said that there is need for Prime Minister Hamdok to resume power. He condemned the military takeover of power in Sudan. He spoke candidly about the conflict in Ethiopia, asking U.S. citizens to leave Ethiopia immediately, saying there is a window of opportunity for the warring factions to come together on the negotiations table, saying that a military solution will not bring forth peace, and he says that should not be the option, throwing his weight behind President Kenyatta and the African Union's efforts to find peace in the country, but also saying and warning that there will be consequences if the factions that are fighting in Ethiopia do not put their weapons down and come on the negotiations table. In terms of Kenya, the coming general elections in August next year, he says the U.S. will be watching, and they are hoping that Kenya will have free, fair elections and also elections that are free from violence. He even spoke about extrajudicial killings in the country. There have been a lot of enforced disappearances, and he said when Kenya is dealing with issues of human rights, they must be seen to be playing on the table and ensuring that human rights are respected, civil society organizations are respected, freedoms of movement, freedoms of the press. All these are issues that he spoke about. And he will be meeting, earlier he met civil society organizations, and we understand that he will be meeting organizations that are dealing with issues of renewable energy, issues of green energy, but also he will be talking more about what the U.S. will be doing to ensure that the continent is able to fight COVID-19. This, he's saying, is a rejuvenation of relations between the U.S. and Africa, which have been seen to have fallen off the radar during the Donald Trump administration.
And interestingly, you talk about the Donald Trump administration, and you'll forgive me if I am reaching, but I'm certainly drawing some kind of links here. I'm thinking about the fact that you've got Anthony Blinken coming to Kenya and choosing Kenya to have a state visit in Kenya, and the fact that we know that President Joe Biden was a Barack Obama man, Barack Obama having close links to Kenya, of course, his father having been a Kenyan national. I'm wondering if this is all kind of linked in any way, or if I'm reaching, you can tell me if I am. But are there any sort of connections? I mean, how have Kenyans received Anthony Blinken on his visit to Kenya then?
Indeed, Blinken joked about it and said the relations between Kenya and the U.S. are unique because of the Obama factor. But he said also this is not the reason why he's here. He talks about the centrality of Kenya and being, an oasis of peace at this time when there are conflicts surrounding the country, the status of Kenya being the UN Security Council, the African Union Peace and Security Council, and so that in itself is reason for him to be here, because he says they have recognized President Kenyatta's mediation efforts in the region. On Sunday, Kenyatta did a whistle tour in and out of Ethiopia. He has been speaking to Burhan in Sudan and Hamdok also in Sudan, and trying to see if civilian rule can be resumed or can be restored in Sudan. And so they are recognizing the role of Kenya even in Somalia and South Sudan, and saying this is a time to try and speak to Kenya as they try to resume democracy in most parts of this region that may have fallen off the radar. If you look at the countries he will be visiting after Kenya, he will be going to Senegal. Senegal is the next chairperson of the African Union, and Nigeria, which is an economic powerhouse on the continent. So maybe quite strategic, the choice of countries at this time.
All right, Sarah Kimani, thank you very much for that great update coming to us from Kenya, where the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is on a 2-day state visit there. Sarah Kimani for us there.